A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a galaxy divided. Striking swiftly after the Battle of Geonosis, Count Dooku's droid army has seized control of the major hyperspace lanes, separating the Republic from the majority of its clone army. With few clones available, the Jedi generals cannot gain a foothold in the Outer Rim, as more and more planets choose to join Dooku's separatists. While the Jedi are occupied fighting a war, no one is left to keep the peace. Chaos and crime spread, and the innocent become victims in a lawless galaxy. Crime lord Jabba the Hutt's son has been kidnapped by a rival band of pirates. Desperate to save his son, Jabba puts out a call for help, a call the Jedi are cautious to answer. While the 2008 Clone Wars movie is a movie intended for children and rated PG, the guests on this podcast are neither of those things. There will be swearing and many adult jokes. This podcast is not suitable listening material for children. Furthermore, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers. May the 4th be with you. Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today, Knight of the Order of 6 Degrees of Star Wars, River Lane.
Just because he's changed mediums doesn't mean I've stopped crying about Anakin Skywalker. In fact, I think I've started crying more.
Gillian Quigley.
Asajj Ventress, I am free on Thursday night.
And Bradley.
Hello, everyone. I love droids, and I'm here to talk about it.
Well, you have a lot of droids to talk about because in observation of May the 4th, we decided that we were going to talk about the 2008 Clone Wars CGI animated movie. I have to clarify that because there's a lot of Clone Wars material. Like, there's the Genndy Tartakovsky micro series. There's the animated series that ran on Cartoon Network and then got like a follow-up on Disney Plus back in like 2019. I don't know what the fuck is time anymore.
It was 2020, 2021.
Fuck. But this is the movie that we are talking about, in part because this is arguably the first domino in the path of one guy called Dave Filoni as the leader of Star Wars. Oh, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Dave. So, I know that I am in very large part surrounded by babies, but how many of y'all saw this in theaters when it came out in 2008?
I did. I could not tell you shit about it after the... Not that I remember... It's one of those movies where I remember seeing it. I couldn't tell you anything after the fact, post my rewatch. But also...
I'm in the same boat. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't see it in theaters, actually, because I was late to the whole Clone Wars extravaganza. I did have friends in, like, when I was 8... who got deeply into the Clone Wars, and I sort of followed along with them. But actually watching both the movie and the series proper didn't come till I was in my first year of college.
I remembered Ahsoka, and I remembered Stinky, and that was pretty much it until...
Stinky is going to be making a return in The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is also part of why we are doing this when we're doing this, because... yeah, The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to drop a few weeks after this episode does. And like I said, Dave's trajectory begins here. But I did see this in theaters, so listeners may remember from past lore drops. I am the eldest of 3 children, and I am the only one who is femme. I have 2 younger brothers. So they got to gang up on me and outvote me on basically everything that we did. So when our babysitter took us to a movie, we went to go see what my brothers wanted to see. So this is my first Star Wars movie in theaters. And then we lost my little brother in the parking lot because he was running around playing X-Wing Fighter.
I mean, deeply understandable. I did write in my notes that this is very much a movie about a show for boys, TM.
CR.
TMCR, yeah. Which has its benefits and its detriments. And I got a lot of thoughts about all of that TM, but I figure we should probably somewhat go in chronological order.
Yeah. So, for those of you who haven't seen this, this is very much a 2008. We have 4 to 5 episodes of a TV series which we have mushed into a movie kind of thing. But it is wild to, like, know that they did try, or at least entertained at one point, the idea of getting, like, the entire live action cast back to do the voices for this. We'll go into more of that, but basic overview of what happens. Anakin Skywalker, 19 years old, gets a Padawan in the beginning of the Clone Wars while on a mission to rescue the before-never-mentioned son of Jabba the Hutt to secure transport for the Republic through the Outer Rim, and shenanigans ensue. That's the elevator pitch.
Yeah, I will say, as a pilot for the series, it is actually a fairly decent example of some of the types of major episodes we are going to get going forward. It is the Skywalker Kenobi Dream Team episodes, the Underworld episodes, a smattering of both the politic and the droid eps. The only thing it's missing is a clone ep, but considering that chronologically one of the episodes of the show is the clone ep for this arc, I understand why it's not here. And another thing is, I mentioned this to my friend, and I got to talking about this last night while I was like trying to sort out my thoughts before we did recording. While I think the creators knew that they wanted to make the clones important characters, I do not think that they realized completely how much the clones were going to run away with the whole damn thing. Like, they know they wanted them to be important characters. They wanted them to, like, you wanted to feel for, you know, Rex or whatever. But I don't think they expected all of us to have a favorite clone by the end of it.
Yeah, and thank you for reminding me of that, River. Just a moment. Can everybody please raise their right hand and repeat after me?
Oh, geez.
I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly
swear
that to the best of my ability.
That's the best of my ability.
We will only talk about the Clone Wars movie and not the series.
We will only talk about the Clone Wars movie and not the series.
I shall be a good noodle for as long as I can.
I shall
be a good noodle for as long as I can.
You may now stop repeating after me. May the Force be with you.
You may now stop repeating me.
Gillian, I swear to God.
I love you.
I know.
But, like, that's the obligatory, you know, side effect of the way the series decided to structure itself. But that's my last quip. Swear to God. I do love the stylistic choices it makes almost immediately to differentiate itself from the movie's proper TM.
By being animated?
Not even the animated, but, like, the initial, like, fog of war clone chatter that opens the movie over the logos, and then the added drums into the Star Wars score that becomes the Clone Wars theme. And then Tom Kane's 1940s style radio announcements, which are so incredible, actually. That's what I mean when I wanted the Revenge of the Sith title to be read as. Like, you can hear Tom Kane going, "War!"
I am debating whether or not I put that as the opening crawl for this episode, or if I do it myself. Because I have a bit that I do. It's about the brand.
However, the brand stops being... You can't do the bit anymore because we're currently out of the numbered episodes.
We could, like, technically term this episode 2.1.
What's his name again? Who did the 2D?
Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, I guess Tartakovsky would be 2.1. I guess this would be like 2.3, and...
Well, it's complicated because Tartakovsky's micro-series is supposed to span, like, the entire 3 years of the war. Like, it ends with the kidnapping of the Chancellor that's supposed to lead directly into 3.
It's the reason
and also includes Jedi Master Shaggy.
It's the reason we have so many... we have, like, too many answers to how the fuck Shakti died. Because the Tartakovsky series says one thing, Clone Wars says another thing, the official canon from before either of those two things existed says another thing. Straight up, nobody knows how Shakti died.
Deleted scenes say another thing, Star Wars The Force Unleashed says another thing. Star Wars The Force Unleashed is not canon, but also Sam Witwer, so...
It's canon if it hasn't been directly overwritten.
Oh, God, don't. Like, people give Ahsoka shit for being a Mary Sue when Star Killer's right there. And this was the introduction of Ahsoka Tano, aka Dave Filoni's special little blorbo. No one else is allowed to kill her but Dave, which means she will outlive the heat death of the universe.
Ahsoka Tano, they could never fucking make me hate you.
Ahsoka Tano, my beloved?
No, Gillian, tell me to shut up, please.
No, Ahsoka Tano. Okay, I wasn't telling you to shut up. I was just saying, Ahsoka Tano, my beloved. Hell yeah.
Bradley, do you have anything you would like to say to Ahsoka Tano?
I do. I mean, she's a fun character, and I have to admit something. I have watched this now 3 times in my life, twice in the last 72 hours, and then once when it came to theaters, but I have otherwise not actually watched the series. So there's a certain level of mystique to some of this, and I will say, watching this, 2 times in 3 days, Ahsoka's just fun. Like, she's very fun to see on screen. She's clever, plucky. I don't know.
So when you say you haven't seen the series, does that also mean you haven't seen Rebels or her own eponymous series, or you haven't seen her in The Mandalorian? How much do you know of
fair.
capital T, capital J, the journey Ahsoka is going to be going on?
I've seen various episodes here and there, but I would say I have at best sort of an overarching structure to it, but I haven't seen a lot of the moments along the way and various changes that the character's undergone. But I've seen a few of the key points, I would say.
Oh, mama, the oath just became that harder to keep.
I am being a good noodle, and I'm not talking about anything, but I do want to talk about Ahsoka in this movie.
Yeah.
Because Dave has a thing for Lone Wolf and Cub. That is his shit. He read that thing once and decided to make it his entire creative personality, for better and for worse. Apparently, though, giving her to Anakin wasn't his idea. He originally did want to give her to Obi-Wan, and then George Lucas said, "Nah, give her to Anakin." Incredible decision, George. Because you also have to remember, this is still when George has a fairly hands-on attachment to the series. Like, he is still working. One of the other reasons we get Dave the way that Dave is because George Lucas basically gave him the reins. And so one of the things that I sort of was watching on this rewatch of the movie is, on the one hand, yes, Ahsoka is the child character. She's got a lot of, hang-ups from being the child character, but like, guys, she's like 14. Calm the fuck down. She's 14. And Anakin Skywalker has to make this war an acceptable childhood for her.
Great idea, George. Let's give the 19-year-old a 14-year-old.
Where the fuck is my note about that? Because I did actually make a note about that.
I made a note of, like, yes, you are too old to be a Padawan. It's like a whole thing. Padawans, like, age out of it at 13. It was like a huge deal that Obi-Wan was almost not picked to be Qui-Gon's Padawan.
Yeah, but then, war circumstances being what they are, they basically started making everyone Padawans as fast as humanly possible and started taking people out of the core, but I am not talking about the extended Jedi lore because I'm a good noodle. But no, I literally have the note of, we need to cure his attachment issues by giving him something he has to get attached to that will be one more domino in his doom track. But what I was getting at is, Ahsoka is, in a deep-seated way, as somebody who was raised culturally female and was always in, these masculine-coded fandom spaces from a pretty early age, Ahsoka Tano kind of feels like a kindness. Like, Dave went out of his way to make this character, or maybe didn't go out of his way to make this character female, but he chose to make this character female. And she is all of Anakin's worst traits mirrored back at him. The joke of Anakin in the movie saying that a Padawan would slow him down, and then he spends the next 7 seasons going, Ahsoka, wait!
Yeah.
And, the idea that, like, they're siblings, they are entrenched in one another almost immediately. They eventually will end up being Ahsoka going, I want to be you, and Anakin going, I need you to be better. And that being the thing that saves her in the end. But so even in this movie, you are getting the streaks of where that relationship is going to go almost immediately. Like, again, there's a reason that this thumbnail for this episode is the speech from After the Shield Generators of, you reckless little one, you would have never made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, you might make it as mine. And
as if they aren't all the disaster lineage!
Yes, and the immediate quote and the immediate joke to immediately follow that, because I also think I put a fan comic in Shammy's queue of, have you met Obi-Wan's Padawan? Love the entire war crime surrender scene that is just Obi-Wan being as much of a rat bastard as his Padawan.
Oh yeah, interacting with Worm Loathsome. What an incredible name.
Incredibly named.
That had to be a George one.
Oh, it's gotta be.
That does seem very George. Also, I love Anakin and Ahsoka going full Solid Snake to get under.
Truly, I also have the note of, like, I love the plan. It's just Solid Snaking it.
Just get under a crate, you know? It always works.
It
And then their
does.
encounter with the single droideka on the bridge. I love that guy. I love droideka so much, and just let that one, you know, they left him behind. He's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out well for him, though.
No.
Love droidekas. Love the battle
Just 'cause-
droids.
We had to get as much sibling bickering as possible into
They're
the mix.
They're so good, though. I also love that, you know, the immediate introduction to Anakin in this movie is proof that he is still the reckless boy we left in Attack of the Clones, even if he is now looking closer to his Revenge of the Sith counterpart. Smart decision. I like the Revenge of the Sith design more, so, like, I'm with it.
I think you would be hard-pressed to find people who prefer Buzzcut and Rat Tail over gorgeously floofy waves. That being said, I think the recklessness is a good continuation. I feel that, I know I'm in the minority on this. This is part of what feels like the hard turn on Anakin's personality in a way that does not fully vibe to me. Like, one of the things I have always had an issue with in Clone Wars, and keeping it specifically to the movie, is just how hard Anakin becomes more traditional, wisecracking, macho hero, and kind of loses the softness and vulnerability, in my opinion, way too fast. Because, like, I kept making notes of, like, this is about a month after Anakin lost his arm, lost his mom, got married, and entered a war. He's 19. Like, can we... I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Am I the only one who's feeling this, or...
I think his softness gets redirected. The side effect of this being a show for boys TM made in the early aughts, he doesn't get as many moments with Padme. You know, it's not even the fact that he and Padme are not supposed to be, you know, being what they are. You cannot
fucking threw a hologram.
You cannot do courtly love in a show for boys in the early aughts. But I think, again, a lot of his softness is redirected towards Ahsoka. You know, his quippiness to me has always felt I can't let this kid know I am panicking, or I am, you know, just as nervous about what the hell we're going through. I have to keep up a facade, because Anakin has not yet bought into his myth about being the hero with no fear. But that is what Ahsoka is expecting from him in some capacity. And so he's like, okay, I need to do this, because if I lose my shit, and, like, we're not talking about the show, so I can't talk about the second Geonosis sequence and him losing his shit on Luminara because fucking her and Barriss are in danger, and Luminara is fully prepared to let Barriss go, and Anakin is just like, but, like, no, actually. But anyway, so a lot of that gets in, even in this, is like, you know, he's like, okay, like, you know, we've been running basically since the word go. You are allowed to take a break, man. You are allowed to, like, you know, sleep a little bit. I'll look after the kid. And she's like, no, I gotta do this. And he's like, okay, but, like, you know, I think it is still there, but it is redirected in ways that we can't completely talk about because we're not talking about the series, because I'm a good noodle and I'm not talking about the series mostly. And I also think it gets redirected at Rex, you know, the moment where he's flying away in the twilight after Ahsoka's like, no, this baby is going to fucking die and our mission will fail if we do not get the fuck out of here and get this baby med support now. And he has that, like, crestfallen expression of, I don't want to leave Rex here, but I have to because it's the mission, even though I promised him I'd go back for him, you know? I do think it is still there. I just think it's shown in different lights, and it's like tampered occasionally by the fact that we are doing show for boys in the yachts TMCR.
Somebody who isn't me, please talk.
I love the Planet of Teth. I love it's just, maybe it's because I love how it's so pink and how everything kind of looks watercolored.
Teth was actually the source of, I guess what you would call a meme in my family. For whatever reason, my brothers and I really got into the fire on sector 11374265. 113. What was that again? Just fire right there. We were like fully vocal stimming on that. And honestly, giving the battle droids personalities is both great and horrifying because it further goes into the like, wait, what the fuck? Are these sapient beings?
I love the casual nihilism that all of the battle droids get. When Ventress, like, hucks the one off the cliff and he's like, why me? It's top tier comedy. The funniest one is from the series, and I'm not going to talk about it, but just know I am thinking about it. I am beating it directly into the listeners' minds. If you have seen the series, you have a 20% suspicion of which one I'm talking about. I am beating it into your minds.
One of my favorite moments is actually just after the, just fire right there. We have the one droid falls over, is destroyed upon hitting the ground, and then is demanded, "Get back here, Sergeant." Like, that's just so phenomenal. Their charm and just, not just the way they look, the way they act, the way the dwarf spider droids are sort of treated like dogs a little bit. Like, they have that sort of good boy interaction. The droids really do have so much. It's kind of an inhuman charm. Like, they don't really feel entirely like people, but there's something still sort of delightful about the way that they operate and the way they interact with each other. And even those questions of, why would they have these personalities? Why can they feel pain, George? Why do they have to talk to each other? Why are they looking around with their own eyes? But none of those questions really matter, because at the end of the day, the way they are is just fun. And, as a droid enjoyer, I enjoy all of these droids.
Roger. It's weird hearing Clanker used in this movie when you've heard it in other
too.
Predicted AI hatred.
I mean, I think it is from this series. Like,
and there's something.
I believe it came, like, the Clanker term for the AI, I fully believe came out of people who were fans of the Clone Wars being like, we're doing clone bits, man.
And there's something else Ahsoka calls the Magna Guards near the end. I wish I had written it down, but she has like another special insult just for them, calling them like sticks or skeletons or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to go on a clone rant because we can't actually go on too much of a clone rant. However, Rex, I would die for you.
I got so mad at because I'd forgotten the full implications of the scene. I'm like, motherfucker, you did not just imply that Rex is weak-minded.
Rex again, I'm not talking about the series because I'm a good noodle. Fine.
No. My understanding of it is Rex was never actually mind-tricked. That's why he called him Anakin.
Yeah. Or, Ventress was overlooking something. But yeah, no,
I like my version better.
Your version is better, and it would contend with what we again, find fives. But yeah, no, I fucking love Rex. I love his refusal to go down without a fight. I love him being like, right, it is two men. I think backup's coming, but I'm not certain. You're fucking outnumbered. And the droid's going, you're 1, 2, 3, bomb run. Excellent moment. 12 out of 10. Love his J, guys. Love his comma. I actually don't know if he has his comma yet. I don't think he does. I think he gets that later. I hold Rex like plushie.
And how exactly are we holding Asajj Ventress?
By her ankle. Like a fish I caught like a white man on a Tinder profile catching fish.
That sexual tension between Ventress and Kenobi is really, really something else. That is...
He calls her my darling! And I'm like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, can you stop flirting for 5 minutes?
I don't think he can. I don't think he's capable.
Shout out got to James Arnold Taylor. He does an incredible, like, you and Alec McGuinness fusion impression that I do really enjoy.
Of the main actors who had to take over from somebody else, I think he's probably the best. I love Matt Lanter. I want to be clear. I love Matt Lanter. He does not sound like Hayden for anything.
No, and I think that is partially intentional. But yeah, no, I love Matt Lanter. Matt Lanter, anytime they fuse his voice with James Earl Jones and or Hayden Christensen, my heart shatters into 5 billion pieces. But again, I'm being a good noodle and I'm not talking about the show. Or shows, I should say. But no, the other thing about Rex that I wanted to mention is the experience, in my opinion, experience outranks everything. That line haunts the narrative. That line's gonna haunt the entire goddamn narrative until forever. I look at it and I yell about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the line was that gave me my own what if I lost it? But it wasn't anything to do with Rex. It was Yoda going, to let her go, a greater challenge it will be. And I'm like, what if I wept like a baby?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the show.
We're not talking about the show. What are my other...
We will talk about the fact that the Jedi Order's been drinking the stupid juice. Because they really said, hey, you know who the perfect Jedi is to go rescue the son of a Hutt? The Jedi who was previously enslaved by Hutts!
Yeah,
Really
Kenobi's remark of Anakin's special skill set with the Hutts, I'm like, you mean the slaver? You mean the ex? Again, not talking about the show, but again, sending the ex-slave of the Torgruda to rescue Torgrudans from the slaving empire.
It's funny, that's such a clear element that part of the plan to get the Hutts to, not work with the Jedi relied on the assumption that, if we put a camera on Anakin for 20 minutes, he will say something about how much he hates Hutts. Guaranteed. 100% he will have an I think Coolsville sucks moment about Hutts.
I mean, yeah, that is the entirety of what that plot is.
Yeah. Honestly, the approach to the Hutts is so weird because they have to kidify it, so, like, the dancing girls can't be as scantily clad as they would have been in Return of the Jedi.
They can only do it as shadow work when you go see Zero.
Yeah. Zero, my god.
I also think they change out the line about what the Twilight is, because the reason the Twilight exists is simply so that Dave can justify Owen's lie that Luke's father was a captain on a spice freighter. The only reason the Twilight exists.
Retcon!
It's so funny, but I do love the Twilight, and I also love Anakin's remark of, like, Obi-Wan, did you get shot down again? Ahsoka, yeah. Anakin, it's not fast enough, I haven't made the modifications necessary. Insane, absolutely bug nuts. Love this weirdo whose fascination with ships.
I'll be the one to say it. Twilight outranks Millennium Falcon.
Twilight does outrank Millennium Falcon because Anakin Skywalker worked on it. If Anakin Skywalker had access to the Millennium Falcon, it would be doing the Kessel Run in fewer than 12 parsecs. Brain, work with me here. I fucking love the Twilight. I love the sibling bantering the entire time of trying to get into Tatooine's atmosphere. But again, some of the quotes that I grabbed from the various scenes is Obi-Wan's Skywalker's in trouble, you know the drill.
I'm still cleaning up your last mess!
And if there's a battle, Anakin's probably gonna be in the middle of it. You have that we're in trouble look. There's a look. Anakin, did you get shot down again? Yes. It's too slow. I haven't had time to modify it yet. It's so silly. I love these three so much. Again, so long as we stick together, nothing can go wrong, and then everything went wrong! But I'm not talking about the show. I love the Star Wars Red Cross that they used for the medic symbol. It's a very good design to skirt around the Geneva Conventions while still getting a Red Cross. There's a lot of creative camera work in this movie.
And if you have any problems, ask a real doctor.
Real, valid. Love robo-droids.
Love them.
When you say interesting camera work, can you go into like a little bit more of what you mean? Because I might have a differing opinion. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, so there's this one shot during the siege on Tath where they stick a camera onto they metaphorically stick a camera onto the barrel of a gun of one of the blasters, and they use that for a bit before the clone gets shot and killed. Some of the early battle work is a little chaotic, but I think they use the chaos well enough. The shot of Dooku going into Jabba's castle with the shadows elongated on the floor. But again, the side effect of this being a cobbled together 4-episode arc, the animation quality varies wildly occasionally from scene to scene, because first season Clone Wars was incredibly fucking rough.
Yeah. Like, the big things that stuck out for me is the weird way that things can seem weightless. Like, people give the prequels shit for their visual effects, but there are times when I'm like, there is no oomph to these figures that are moving around independent of the background that they are on. But occasionally it works, like when Ahsoka goes full Buster Keaton on Anakin.
Very silly goof. Anakin, maybe don't leave your Padawan to deal with Ventress for 5 seconds. I know you were coming back, but also maybe don't leave your Padawan to deal with Ventress. You got a scar that way. Gillian, talk, please. God.
A quote I wrote down was like, if anyone can fly that bucket of faults through hyperspace, he gets like, fuck yeah, he can. He's a pod racing champ, and I love that.
How does Jabba not have more of a reaction to it being Anakin Skywalker? You saw this kid
fair.
win the Bunta Eve Classic at 9 years old.
It's 10 years have passed, so...
Something, yeah, no.
He was the first human to do it!
Yeah, it is basically, what if NASCAR had a dog drive and win?
Yeah.
Or there's this great Tumblr post that runs around out there that is basically like Anakin was destined for fame in very specific circles simply because of being the first human to win the Bunta Eve Classic. Because it's like, again, what if you had a dog drive a NASCAR?
Luke getting
against it.
crossed with that. Also, Punky Muffin.
Oh, yeah.
That Punky Muffin is going to grow up to be a buff Hutt voiced by Jeremy Allen White.
What a time to be alive!
Hearing Jabba say it, too, it's funny. Anytime you hear Jabba speak, there's this element of, like, it's kind of charming and funny and cute, and then I remember who Jabba the Hutt is, and I'm like, oh, like, what an evil guy, but at the same time, you know, he's a slimy
Hi, Kevin
worm.
Michael Richardson.
Hi, Kevin Michael Richardson. I wish that some of the Hutt tease was actually captioned, the, like,
That would be nice.
Hutt tease.
Yeah.
I do wish it was captioned, because it is, if you look at the subtitles on Disney Plus, it is just speaking Huttese. We don't know enough about Huttese as a language, even though it is one of the prominent alien languages. I assume that, like, from a language standpoint, you know, I don't remember if they had a conlang artist on the original movies when they made Huttese up, but I assume to some extent it is just Pig Latin, with some things sprinkled in for flavor.
Entirely possible. I think what it actually came down to with not subtitling the Huttese is it's another instance of, and there's a lot of this in the movie to me, kids are stupid, they don't want to read, they need to have stuff spoon-fed to them, etc., because there's definitely some dialogue that's like, and we're reiterating the same information that was probably in last episode because we don't expect these little crotch goblins to have retained that information.
Or, like, if this was because again, this was originally supposed to be a set of episodes, and it was going to be just part of season 1, and then George said, "No, we got to announce this with a movie," and so they stitched together a couple of episodes to make the movie. I also think it's a case of, like, reruns. You know, when reruns come out, you don't necessarily get reruns in order. So it's here's a quick catch up on what you need to know going into this episode that you might have either missed from last episode or that, like, the last episode didn't air.
Don't get me started on Clone Wars chronology fuckery. Don't.
We're not talking about the series. We're not talking about the anthology storytelling that might have been good for a first season and then gets really complicated anytime after season 3. We're not doing it. I'm a good noodle, and I am not talking about the series.
With Huttese, there are always, you know, a couple of things you can track. You know, you get your Ichutas and your Slimos and everything, and that's always a good time. I was looking into Huttese a while ago, and what I largely found was, you know, some amount of it is just, you know, we've got the sounds that we need for any given scene, but, you know, you've got words, various fantasy words they've come up with. But funny enough, a lot of the established Huttese is like it's swears, it's profanity, it's fun little, it's insults and all these things that we've got characters throwing at each other all the time. Because it's
poodoo.
Oh yeah, God, it's got a good sound, that sort of guttural, like especially coming out of a Hutt's mouth. You know, when they have those incredibly deep sort of frog-like voices, and just I always have to remind myself that almost all Hutts can speak Basic, they just won't do it. So it's just like they're deliberately being disrespectful to you by refusing to communicate directly and using a translator. It's just, what a good time. What slimeball.
Well, I mean, if their speaking voice in Galactic Basic is anything like Zero's.
You know, that's fair.
I will say, before we go on to Zero, I also love that Huttese does not have its own word for Jedi. In contrast with Mandoa, because yes, hello, River is a Mandalorian scholar, you're gonna get a brief Mandoa rant. Mandoa has at least 3 words for Jedi. It doesn't have any for rope. This is the side effects of building a conlang. Zero is fascinating. First off, shout out to Kevin Kleiner for the score. I love the space jazz. I'm not calling it what it is. I'm not calling it that.
Say it!
I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it space jazz.
Jizz.
That then, like, you know, they do the whole, like, dragging the assassin out of the room and then the band going, Privy, that was a bummer. Big band! The sound design in this movie is actually pretty well done. I love the way that very frequently the sound design of the droids gets folded into the score. Top tier, good shit. Love that as a concept, but I'm also a sucker for how movies sound. Zero. What are we gonna do with you?
Okay, well, here's what I will say. The 2008 villain queer coding, off the charts.
Yeah,
like
it's
this,
pretty rough.
This effete, purple, tattooed Southern belle voice, basically. And, like, props to Corey Burton going on this. Like, I love the story of Christopher Lee coming in to be like, you want me to voice Count Dooku, but why? You have a perfectly good Corey Burton.
Yeah.
And then this ended up being the last thing he did Count Dooku for.
Yeah. Apparently, Zero is supposed to be more Capote. He's supposed to be Truman Capote.
Oh, yeah, I hear it. But I'm surprised that was not David Sedaris, but Corey Burton's doing a good job doing it.
My roommates
Capote.
didn't refer to him as the Truman Capote Hutt for that reason, which is...
Yeah. I love that he has tattoos. I think that's an interesting design choice. I love giving alien species tattoos in ways that one would not traditionally give a character tattoos. Shit's fun.
I do like Zero's aesthetic just conceptually, but God, that voice makes it so hard to want to spend any time with this character, which is incredibly frustrating for me, being the Padme Amidala freak show that I am. Padme Amidala has no fans, Anakin Skywalker and I are dead.
Real, yeah.
I am the vice president of her fan club, but only because Anakin has president for life status even after he murders her.
I love that she has an appropriate outfit for any scheme.
Yes!
I wish she had more, because that is the cardinal sin I cannot forgive where it comes to Padme Amidala. You never, ever, ever make her repeat an outfit!
Man, sometimes this show's budget is like $5 and some bubble gum.
You could have at least had it be a different color. It does not have to be exactly the same as the white jumpsuit she was wearing a month ago on Geonosis that got clawed open by a neck suit.
Maybe she liked it and wanted to replace it. She's allowed to. Maybe it's just her version of sweats. Let's be so for real. She doesn't want to be perfectly dolled up all of the time.
How dare you slander my girl this way? How dare you?
Your girl needs to occasionally have days off.
That is antithetical to her character, which is so well embodied in this, along with the fact that she and Anakin are so fucking obvious.
I do love Palpatine's blatant planting of like, yes, this is how you're going to do things. And he's like, Palpatine is so not subtle in this movie. It's truly incredible. Like, you can tell the strings are there. They are visible to the naked eye. Everyone in this movie is being played like a fiddle. or a cheap kazoo.
This is truly the end game of I know writers who use subtext, they're all cowards.
Real!
There is no slow burn here. It's just everybody being written at a level that 8-year-olds can understand, and therefore us in our 20s and 30s are like, are you serious? That's a fascist! Sir, that is a fascist standing right there!
Yeah, bad guy, that guy's the bad guy.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. Truly one of the most Kyleisms that has ingrained itself into my brain. But yeah, no, it's very like the gang, fam, and also gang. What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are those things called? Bradley, you would probably know. What are those things called that like pop up around the shield generator? Because I swear I have not seen them in anything else.
Yes, I'm glad you asked, because I've got a note about those specifically. Those are the LR-57 combat droid, also known as the retail droid, which is they're named after a guy. I think being called the retail droid is hilarious, though. I'm not a huge fan of those, but yeah, as it turns out, they don't show up very often. They're one of the several first droid appearances in this movie. But then from a little bit of research I did, apparently they only were used in 2 battles. So they're in this, and they appear, I think, once or twice elsewhere, but it's just like, what a strange burrowing thing with their barrel heads and their...
Why are they called retail?
I think it's the name of a person. That I'd have to...
Okay, because you say retail, and what I think is like, what, did they make a bajillion toys out of these and then they didn't get sold?
Yeah, they were a company, the Retail Caucus. So it was their specific
They bought
droid.
them off Amazon! They're Amazon brand name droids! That's what's happening!
That does basically seem to be it. It is kind of funny looking at all the different droids and the different manufactories and the aesthetics that they go for.
Right, because the Confederacy is a plutocracy. The Confederacy is a capitalist hellscape.
Well, the Republic is also a capitalist hellscape, but again, we're not talking about the show.
But like, even with the... Or wait, maybe that was a deleted scene. I don't know. God! I know we're not talking about the show, but now all I can think of is the Kaminoan senator's name is Halle Bertoni. Halliburton! God!
Yeah.
God!
Quick question for the audience, and or also the people in this room, so the audience. Why didn't we give Obi-Wan another Padawan?
Because Anakin would not handle having a sibling in that context.
He'd be competing for attention, absolutely.
He's a baby bird. He imprinted on Obi-Wan after Qui-Gon was out of the picture. There is no other authority figure Anakin actually trusts and respects. He might respect other members of the Order. He does not trust them.
Speaking of Qui-Gon, though, looking at, character parallels, we've got Qui-Gon and Anakin, and then Anakin to Ahsoka with the nothing happens by accident, I think was that the line. I love that moment.
It's real weird hearing Matt Latner, Anakin quoting any sort of Jedi wisdom. Does not sound right coming out of his mouth, and I think that's kind of fun.
There is something a little bit bro-y about it. It's nice, though. I kind of like the idea of this character reaching for wisdom, in a sense.
The way I have described the characterization of Anakin in this movie, and also to some extent the show, is again, he and Ahsoka, if Anakin and Obi-Wan fluctuate between parent and child and siblings, Anakin and Ahsoka come out of the gate swinging with being siblings. Ahsoka is the plucky younger sister who wants to be just like her big brother, and her big brother is just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Dad, what do you mean I have to bring her with me?
Yeah.
No, this can't be a bonding activity. I have like this image I need to show off to my bros.
That simultaneously coupled with, want a beer? He's 12. I don't know. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, that is simultaneously their dynamic. And I think it's kind of incredible, actually.
I love how he's resistant to it for about 5 minutes. He's just like, I don't want to do this. And then immediately they're discussing plans, and she says, I think we should go deal with the shield generator. And he says, you know what? That's right. I like you now. Great.
Week's over. I got a plan.
And 5 seconds later, the plan is in shambles. Let's go.
The most important last step of any plan is improvise.
Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails.
Fuck the plan.
Also, first, Ahsoka, put on some fucking clothing. I'm so glad your redesign eventually gives you real clothing, but Ahsoka, put on some damn clothing. You're in the middle of a war zone.
Dave, she's 14. Dave, I went to public school and I would have gotten dress coded for that at 14. Dave! Fucking props to Ashley Eckstein, though. Like, it is wild to think that getting this role eventually leads to her contributing about a third of my wardrobe.
Real valid, even.
Her universe, wildly varying in quality, but goddamn, is it a goldmine for fandom merch.
When it hits, man. I would say that I am a number one Ahsoka Tano defender, but Ashley Eckstein is indeed right there.
If Dave Filoni doesn't kill Ahsoka Tano, Ashley Eckstein will.
Yeah.
That is the only way it happens.
That is the only way it happens. Yeah. And I love the fact that they push hard that one of her main motivations in this movie is basically like, I want to prove that I have a right to be in this room, even though by all accounts I shouldn't have to, you know? Again, I do think there is a kindness in making Ahsoka a girl, and her backlash proves kind of why she needed to be there.
It's interesting because there are like two camps to Ahsoka hate, and not a complete circle, but stack of pancakes. There is the she is annoying kid who gets in the way, and then there is she is OP Mary Sue girl boss.
Yeah.
And in watching this again, I can like see the moments that lend itself to that justification. However, I am then like, hey, have you met her master who won the Bunta Eve Classic at the age of 9 and was the first human to do so?
Yeah, I said this earlier, but she is all of Anakin's worst traits kind of reflected back at him. She is impulsive and reckless and has the potential to be as skilled as Anakin to be able to back all that impulse and recklessness up, but she's currently 14 and trying to make the war an acceptable childhood for her. And so, like, there is this sense of everything you hate Ahsoka for. You should also free my girl. She's just the main character, but a woman.
I mean, we should acknowledge all the shit that Jake Lloyd and Hayden got. Like, the whole redemption of Anakin's character for a lot of people did come from him entering more traditionally masculine portrayals of heroism.
Well, yes, obviously. But also, again, putting Ahsoka as a domino in the Doom Tracker does punch a little bit harder. Like I said in the Revenge of the Sith episode, Mace not giving her the rank of master. I'm like, it's not his fault that you all jumped to conclusions and forced her to feel like leaving the order was the only option. This is not about the show. This is not about the show.
We talked about this a little bit earlier about Jedi leadership and the various decisions that they make and, you know, plans and everything. But I think this movie, even just kind of looking at it as the war movie within Star Wars that it is, and I know they're all Star Wars movies, but this one it feels more to me like a war movie than a lot of the others. But a lot of the decisions we see Jedi leadership make, they just feel so bizarre, just moving people around. And
we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. That's why everything is resting on Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
If you take them out, the whole operation collapses.
Absolutely.
My friend and I actually talked about this last night, and I'm going to give my friend credit for this. Hi, Bumble. But she basically says that the side effect of them being peacekeepers in a war, you know, Obi-Wan, when dealing with a battle situation, is usually going to default to Cody's opinion about something because Cody is the soldier. Meanwhile, Anakin Skywalker is the hero, capital T, capital H. The plot will fall apart if you make him make a serious decision, which is why every time the series needs to do a war episode, they move Anakin out of the plot. Because Anakin Skywalker looks at you can save 1,000 people or you can save one person and says, fuck that, I'm saving 1,001, fucking watch me. And because he's the hero, he can do that. But that is not how war functions, you know? Anakin would make a terrible general. Most of the Jedi make terrible generals, but they are so fueled by Jedi compassion is a hell of a drug, and to sit out the war would defeat their orders. To participate defeats their orders. They're in a Kobayashi Maru scenario where there is no winning, and everything is Palpatine's fault, playing the entire thing like a goddamn fiddle. Everyone's being manipulated by evil space wizards.
Yeah, just Palpatine playing with his two armies of dolls against each other.
It's been Palpatine all along.
And he just loves it. He loves being evil. He's having such a good time. I'm a little envious sometimes of his single-minded focus, you know?
I can take that envy away by reminding you, we live in 2026.
That is very true.
If only our current evil wizards were just really, really set on getting one specific 25-year-old to become an evil wizard.
Or continuously coming up with the same plan. I'm going to build a really big gun. Which, it never
I'm
works,
sorry,
but
what
maybe
do you
this
call
time.
Iran?
Oh, God. George is
I'm
sitting over here like, what did I tell you about the fucking trade routes?
George, I'm so sorry! This movie is also a trade route movie.
It is!
It is.
It's almost like we live in a capitalist system where everything is built on this.
Yeah. I have to look at a map of the fucking Star Wars galaxy because surprisingly I don't have one imprinted into my brain, but that's mostly because the Star Wars galaxy map changes on who drew it and what position the sun is in the sky and what year it was made. But most Star Wars maps do actually put the hyperspace lanes in. So, like, the benefit of the hyperspace lane is basically just like, yeah, you can huck a ship into it and fly it through, straight shot. You're not going to have to jump or, like, hopscotch. And that is sort of the benefit of hyperlanes. Think of them as intergalactic highways. Essentially, they need Route 66 because they got lopped off from 28 or something. I don't know. Take my shitty road metaphor and run with it.
Or drive with it in this case.
Oh, God. If we drive, we're going to end up in sand. Gritty, abrasive sand.
I do appreciate Ahsoka getting a sand quip.
Anakin sitting there like, oh, God damn it. I like her more now.
I've had Ahsoka for 48 hours, and if anything happens to her, I'm killing everyone in this room and then myself.
And then he almost gets the chance. This did, I think, do a whole lot more work for the fandom in canonizing Anakin as girl dad. Like, The relationship with Anakin and Luke has always been the far more definitive, even though the relationship with Leia, because it's so nebulous, has so much more potential to explode. But, like, you gave Anakin a daughter, and she became feral.
Yeah. And also,
Yes, I see you, Matthew Stover. I see with a kick like that, definitely a girl.
I also insert the general fan theory, or the general fan accepted, meta of, Leia. God bless Bale and Brea. They tried to breed Anakin Skywalker out of Leia, and it did not fucking work. That is his daughter. Meanwhile, Owen and Beru got the sunshine, light, and hope of Padme. Trapped inside of a flyboy.
I think that this movie does also give some examples of Padme is just as much of a reckless idiot as Anakin, because what do you mean you charged into a Hutt crime lord's cantina without any backup already waiting, and after he asked you to leave, you charged back in, spied on him while hiding out in the open, and then were like, oh no, don't activate my communicator, don't tell my totally gay protocol droid anything.
Truly the worst part about this movie is that the husbands are separated.
Dude, R2 is having a terrible time.
R2 may be having a terrible time, but I do appreciate Ahsoka's immediately like, I've had R2 for 8 hours, and if anything happens to him, I'm killing everyone in this room and then myself. She is immediately in on R2, and I'm like, excellent. All you need to know.
As one should be. R2 is the best.
He is. I don't think the Coruscant guard at the end is Fox, but Jesus Christ, give Fox a day off.
I have to imagine that the clones just in general are like, oh, we have to take care of something. Is it Senator Amidala again? Of course it is! It's always Senator Amidala!
No. Every once in a while, with a blue moon shines in the sky, it's Bale's fault.
But who's always right next to him?
Sometimes it's Zillow Beast.
I do think, like, within the chronology, this would be the first time of R2 using his little rockets, right? Wait, no, I forgot. I've blanked out the fucking factory scene on Geonosis because I hate it.
It is the longest distance he's ever used the little rockets. Unlike in Lego Star Wars, where it is essentially just R2's version of a double jump.
My baby boy.
Little baby.
My little baby trash bucket. I'm not here for Ahsoka body shaming him.
Oh, yeah, I wish you were a little mouse droid or whatever.
In her defense, Anakin is currently hurling them around. And she's basically having having to push a 30-pound chunk of metal while holding a baby, while the entire, room around her is trying not to spin.
It's a stressful situation. And I will say, mouse droids, that shows she's got good taste in droids.
True. Real even. At least he's not a gonk droid. He has rollers.
Does R2 become a war criminal in this episode? I'm trying to remember if R2 has ever attained war criminal status or if that is exclusive to a different Dave Filoni creation.
I know R2 gets a couple of kills in. I don't know if he ever gets full war crime status. Obi-Wan's a war criminal.
Oh, yeah, he's all surrendered. Yeah, that's the prime war crime of the day.
I love the tea sipping meme so much. That is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, they do pull the full surrender trick a handful of times. I do believe that is how they open one of the last arcs of Clone Wars.
that's how they open the season 7 right before the Bad Batch backdoor pilot. God,
with all of the 501st trapped under the bridge going, what the fuck is the queue? Why is he taking him so long?
But we're not talking about that.
But again, the tea-sipping scene is truly proof that Obi-Wan Kenobi is just as reckless as his Padawan. He's just seen as the logical figure, because if Anakin is up in the stratosphere in terms of recklessness, Obi-Wan is just in lower Atmo. It's there, but his Padawan and, Grand Padawan are so much worse.
The false surrender scene is also the first appearance of the LEP-class service droid. That's the guy with the little ears.
The cat droid!
Little kangaroo!
Yeah, and I guess those are mostly animated only, but we do see one in Book of Boba Fett one time.
Love that.
I could be wrong, but this was, the first instance of a dam. Or, no, there have been dams in the live-action Star Wars movie, but I still, Rex said dam, and I was like, holy shit, there was swearing in a kid's movie!
I mean, straight up there's one scene where a droid, grabs a clone by the shoulder, shoots him through the chest, and then hooks the body aside. I'm like, what the fuck?
We get at least one decapitation. That falling droid shouts, oh my god, while he's falling.
As we all know, dirty language is much, much worse than violence.
That's fair.
And droids aren't people.
And we can get away with violence so long as there's no blood, and blaster and lightsabers cauterize the wound immediately.
Also, the scene of, the rocks sliced open by the lightsaber goes entirely too hard.
Real.
I need to now go back and do a tally of how many times Anakin fights Dooku between episode 2 and episode 3, because now I need to know. I also recently, a couple months back, I reached out to River, do you remember how many times Anakin has been electrocuted in his lifetime? And we found a video.
Yes, the answer for those wondering is 30.
Wow.
If you're ever wondering why Anakin Skywalker is like that come Revenge of the Sith, just know he's sleep-deprived, suffering from BPD, suffering from CPTSD and PTSD, has been electrocuted bar minimum 30 times, had himself shot at a couple of times.
Spent 9 years enslaved, lost his mom, is dreaming about losing his wife, may or may not have tism.
May or may not have tism. But yeah, no, 30 times. But also, again, I need the audience to understand that I did not have this number off the top of my head, but I did appreciate the fact that Sam thought I would have this number off the top of my head.
We have brands.
We do indeed have brands.
I'm kind of fascinated, honestly. It's such a small moment, but the one droid that one of the several droids, actually, who falls off of a cliff in the film, shouts "Oh my god" on his way down. And I know it's not something I'm supposed to think about too much, but honestly, droid theology is now going to be rattling around in my brain for a few weeks at least.
I mean, what is the collective consciousness of a droid if not a symptom of godhood? Again, we're not talking about the show, but the moment from the Hondo, for one of the first times we meet Hondo Onaka, and the droid's going, oh, these are some of the older models that are all pre-programmed, to be the same thing. Not us, we're individuals. And then they all start doing the chorus of Roger Roger.
But also, oh my god, just rolls off the tongue, but then, oh my maker!
Yeah, that is true, yeah. And anything sounds good coming out of a droid's speakers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matthew Wood.
Oh, yeah, another great voice performance.
Matthew Wood and D. Bradley Baker just sitting in a recording studio together. So, how many of these guys are you voicing? Oh, 300. Oh, Light Day? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wish that they had been able to get Temuera Morrison for this, just because, I like Temuera Morrison, and I wish he got to do more, but
Yeah, real.
Eventually he got Book of Boba Fett for all that is and is not. But that's for another day, listeners. That is for another day.
In the far distant future of 2035?
We'll get there when we get there. And hopefully we will not be landing or crashing or crash landing when we do so. And nobody will Wilhelm scream. Because of course there's a Wilhelm scream in this movie.
There is a Wilhelm scream. There is a mock Wilhelm scream. There are just lots of exclamations.
We get a classic R2 shriek chained almost immediately into a Wilhelm scream. That was fantastic. But I love, as I keep saying, I do love droids, but it's like there are a few, aside from, we mentioned the LR-57s earlier, there are a good number of droids that appear for the first time in this, which to some degree, of course, where else would they have shown up before? For a few of these anyway. But like, let's see. Yeah, that LEP class service droid. Oh, the BU series bartender droid, which I believe is with Zero. We've got a few others. God, so many things show up. I love Asajj Ventress's Trident class assault ship. So cleverly named Trident. I think that's phenomenal. But just seeing that in the beginning, performing that abrupt abduction of our boy Stinky.
Yeah. I do love Ventress and Obi-Wan's duel, because I feel like we haven't talked about that scene enough. I will not try to steal Mike's sword fighter qualifications, because I simply do not have them.
I mean, my thing of that was the thing with the skirt.
Yeah.
Show for boys.
I also love that, like, both Obi-Wan and Dooku both pull we're gonna toy with our food to make sure that the person we're fighting makes the impulsive move.
Like, Padawan!
No, well, like, yeah, so Obi-Wan is fully, like, trying to egg a Ventress on so that she is sloppy enough so that he can fight her, because his fighting style is oops all defense. Meanwhile, Dooku is trying to egg Anakin on because, oh boy, is that so easy to do! But inevitably his downfall is, to quote Kingsman and Samuel L. Jackson, "Quit playing with your food and finish him!"
He starts monologuing!
He does indeed. The downfall of any good British villain, the monologue.
Do you think the first day of STAP driver orientation is just the instructor looking at everyone in the face and saying, "You're going to die on this thing"? Because I don't think we've ever seen someone, obviously a droid, but I don't think we've ever seen anyone survive more than a few seconds on a STAP. We get Anakin jumping across several of them like Super Mario, just cutting his way across and taking droids down. And then he survives after getting off of the vehicle,
The most
dangerous.
Anakin Skywalker sequence.
Yeah, Anakin gets to survive because he's important.
Protagonist plot armor is a hell of a drug.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna carry us through 7 seasons.
As well as one throwaway line in episode 3 that ensures that our main protagonist and our main antagonist can never interact.
Incredible.
I had one other thing that I was thinking about. Oh, I love you, Lauren. In this series. I love Tom Kane. I think that including Yularen is kind of an interesting little quirk, because Yularen is such a nothing character. Like, he appears once in episode 4. He's part of the initial council that Vader chokes a guy out in, the staff meeting. And I love that Dave is like, I'm going to take this character who was probably around and just put him in here.
It's okay. George said I could.
That handshake, why is young Tarkin hot, from the Citadel arc.
Oh, God. Nope, we're not talking about young Tarkin. We're not going that route, and I think I will say one last thing. I kind of wish that Ventress's cut my way out of the wall thing had not been quite a perfect circle, but it did give me a chance to write in my notes, "Hi, I'm Asajj Ventress, and you're watching Disney Channel."
I think almost every time a Jedi does it, it's a near perfect circle. I know Ahsoka's gets to be a near perfect circle in this series because she's doing it with 2 sabers, and she's doing it around herself. So she basically just has to do 2 arcs.
I did really like it when, like, Qui-Gon has a sloppy circle in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I get that perfect circles are easier to render, and I'm not going to fault them on that.
Yeah.
Particularly when I have issues with how Clone Wars animates bodies in general. Why the fuck is everybody so skinny? I could break Padme's spine over my knee way too easily.
Yeah.
There is a shot of the back of Dooku's neck that is one of the most uncomfortable things I've seen in a while, because his hair is just smooth and white. It looks like he's made of Legos. He's so tall and so spindly. I enjoy Dooku. I find him charming, but I think there's something very uncanny about the animated version of him.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be the Genji Tartakovsky proportions.
That's true. Some of those characters looked pretty wild.
Padme's eyes are like half her face in those designs. But that's for another day, another episode. I think it is time for us to ask, is the Force with the 08 Clone Wars movie?
I cannot bring myself to say no. I cannot be objective about this movie. I love it in the context of the show it spawns. I don't know if I would have gotten the same enjoyment about it at 8, but when I was watching it within the context, I was like, yeah, I love this. This fucks. I understand every reason a person could have to dislike it, but I'm like, I can't be objective about it. I'm getting a yes.
I'm gonna say no with an asterisk, considering how much I enjoyed. It is a backdoor pilot that is stretched out to feature length. Also, hype moments in aura film, partially. So I'm keeping no with an asterisk. So yeah, sorry.
As something that I'm revisiting after so long, I know my nostalgia is affecting this answer, and I know also I'm a sucker for a lightsaber fight on a desert planet at sunset, so that holds a lot of weight for me. But I'm going to have to say yes. I found this charming, and I had a really good time, and honestly, I think this experience makes me think it might be time to take the plunge and watch the rest of it after this. Fill in those gaps in Star Wars for myself.
Obviously,
No. River, you said it wrong. You have to say, do it.
Do it! No, because I was going to ask you, because I forgot that you hadn't seen a lot of the shows, I was going to ask you how you feel about twin sons, a.k.a. Obi-Wan and Maul, dueling on the fucking Tatooine. But you have to get there first.
We are so far from that. Oh, God, that is...
We gotta do Twilight of the Apprentice first.
That's 2040. That's 2040.
I forgot.
Anyway.
I forgot to mention this in the E8 episode, but I'm gonna huck it in here, and Sam, you can either rearrange it or cut it. One of the times I watched this movie was after rewatching Twilight of the Apprentice, and I said, I need to feel happy again. I need to feel joy. So I went from the saddest Anakin and Ahsoka scene to, like, the most content Anakin and Ahsoka scene. I think that is the spectrum of man.
So I am going to make things perfectly balanced within the Force, and I will also give it a no with an asterisk, because there's just, like, a little too much TV pacing for me. And, like, I do adore Ahsoka, but there's just, like, a little too much of the 2008 boys show that's kind of stanking it up for me. Needed more of my girl. That is my complaint about anything with Star Wars that doesn't have what I consider to be sufficient Padme Amidala. It needs more Padme Amidala. Even the stuff that shouldn't have Padme Amidala should have Padme Amidala. I am a simple fucking bitch.
How do you feel about an encounter between Padme and the Resistance polycule?
I would be down for it. Who has Pluggables?
I am Cutie Puppy Fire on the socials. If you haven't followed me on there, that would be nice.
You can find me on BlueSky at Dreams Rebel. You can find me on Letterboxd at punk_skeleton. You can find me on my own website, blog.filmlion.online. And you can find me as the host of The Straights Aren't All Right, a podcast where I gather a bunch of queer people together, make them watch straight rom-coms, try to answer the question, are the straights, like, okay? For those playing the home game, no, they're Anakin and Padme. Of course they're not fucking okay. They have never been okay ever. Even though I will contend with the idea that Anakin is probably demisexual and Padme is probably bi. I see how you interact with those their handmaidens, Padme. You can't convince me you didn't kiss at least once.
I have books. We will talk about this.
You can find me wherever you can find that wherever pods are cast, or on BlueSky at aren'tallrightpodcom.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting the La Hui Foundation's post-flood fundraisers. In April 2026, Hawaii was hit by some of the worst flooding seen in 20 years. This flooding destroyed homes, crops, schools, and at least one hospital, and the La Huy Foundation is one of many groups now rallying across the islands to make sure that underserved communities affected by this disaster have the food, shelter, and other vital supplies that they need in order to survive. The link can be found in the description, as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls, one beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to decide where our journey takes us next.
2.
Got a 2.
That's a 2.
That's a 2, which means on May 16th, to start off AAPI month, we're going to be doing the 2018 Warner Brothers movie, Aquaman.
Interesting.
Because all of my degree 2s have to be Temuera Morrison movies.
Oh, yeah, he is in that.
But consider, I actually kind of like the first Aquaman movie.
Well, we don't have time to unpack all that. We'll see you next time. Till then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you.